Hey, deep divers. Ready to get into crypto?
Always ready.
Okay, so you sent us a whole mountain of articles and research on this.
Oh, yeah.
And it seems like there's more to it than just like buying low and selling high. There's like a whole philosophy behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the most interesting things is that it challenges just the very foundation of how we think about money and value.
Okay. Yeah, so this stack that we've got, it includes a lot about Bitcoin's origins, way back in 2009.
Right.
And not just the tech, but like the mood at the time,
Yeah.
Was the 2008 financial crisis the spark for Bitcoin?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a major catalyst. And
Yeah.
the Bitcoin's creator, the elusive Satoshi Nakamoto, actually embedded a news headline about bank bailouts right into Bitcoin's code.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Talk about a statement.
It was definitely a statement
Yeah.
about the distrust in traditional financial systems, after the crash.
Makes sense, but then how did they actually create a system outside of the banks?
Well, that's where cryptography comes in. This is, it's the foundation of secure communication. Right. Making sure that transactions are safe and can't be tampered with.
So is that why we hear crypto everywhere now?
Yeah.
Because it's all based on this code idea.
Exactly. Cryptography allows for decentralized transactions. So you're cutting out that middleman like the banks and the governments.
Oh, so it's not just about keeping things secret. It's about who gets to be in control.
Yes. That's a really crucial insight.
Okay.
Decentralization is at the very heart of cryptocurrency.
Okay.
It's about shifting that control away from centralized authorities and distributing it amongst a network of participants.
Okay, but cryptography's been around forever. Like,
Yeah.
what made it suddenly relevant for money?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think what's so fascinating about this is it really took the convergence of cryptography with the internet and that post-crisis distrust in financial institutions to really create the perfect conditions for Bitcoin to emerge.
So it was the right idea at the right time?
Absolutely.
But then things started to get more complex, right? Bitcoin wasn't the only game in town for long.
Right.
Like, we've got Ethereum and Dogecoin, and honestly, it's hard to keep track.
Oh, it can be totally overwhelming.
Yeah.
A really key distinction to make is between cryptocurrencies and tokens.
Okay.
So, for instance, ETH from Ethereum, that is a cryptocurrency.
Okay.
It's native to the Ethereum blockchain.
So it's like the official currency of its own little country on the internet.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Okay.
But then you have things like LDO, which is a token from Lido
Uh-huh.
that's built on top of a blockchain like Ethereum.
So it's like building a whole new app with its own currency,
Right.
but hosted on Ethereum's platform.
Exactly. And this distinction is important because it points to just the diverse functionalities within the broader crypto ecosystem.
Okay.
It's not just about money anymore.
Hold on, diverse functionalities. What can you actually do with all these different cryptocurrencies and tokens?
Okay, well, let's start with Bitcoin. It was originally designed to be a peer-to-peer electronic cash system.
Okay.
So think about it back in 2009.
Yeah.
The idea of sending money instantly across borders without a bank,
Right.
that was revolutionary.
Yeah. How does that compare to something like Venmo? I'm sure most people are familiar with that.
Yeah, so Venmo still relies on those traditional financial rails, right?
Right.
You've got a company, there are fees, there are limits.
Yeah.
Bitcoin was aiming for something much more free.
Okay, so Bitcoin wanted to be like digital cash, but this whole token idea suggests other uses.
Absolutely. And while some cryptocurrencies aim to be currencies, right? Tokens often serve completely different purposes.
Okay.
Some grant access to exclusive content,
Okay.
while others can give you voting rights in decentralized protocols.
Voting rights.
Yeah.
So like having a say in how a whole online platform is run.
Yes, exactly.
That's pretty different from buying groceries with a Bitcoin.
It is. And that's just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
We're seeing this huge wave of innovation in what's called decentralized finance,
DeFi.
or DeFi. Yeah, this is where things get really interesting.
Okay, DeFi, that's another term that keeps popping up.
Right.
It sounds huge, but I need like the breakdown,
Sure.
what is actually happening in DeFi.
So DeFi is about recreating traditional financial services, but on the blockchain,
Okay.
without the need for those intermediaries like banks.
Okay.
So imagine lending, borrowing, trading, even insurance,
Wow.
all happening peer-to-peer, governed by code instead of institutions.
So cutting out the middleman for pretty much everything financial,
Yeah,
that's ambitious.
it is. And it's important to note that while DeFi has incredible potential, there are also inherent risks and challenges.
Yeah.
We're still very much in the early stages.
Yeah.
And there are technical complexities, there are regulatory uncertainties,
Right.
and, of course, the potential for scams and fraud.
Always.
Always, yeah.
So it's not a magic bullet, but it's got people excited for a reason.
Yeah.
It seems like the core idea here, whether it's Bitcoin or DeFi, is about rethinking control.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
It's a fundamental shift in power dynamics,
Yeah.
right? Empowering individuals and communities to participate in and govern their own financial systems.
I'm starting to see how big this really is.
Yeah.
Like, we went from digital cash to potentially the whole financial revolution in just a few minutes.
I know it's a lot.
But with all these different cryptocurrencies and tokens, how do you even know where to start?
That's where things can get tricky.
Yeah.
The crypto landscape is vast, and it's constantly evolving. It's crucial to do your research, understand the technology, and carefully evaluate the risks involved before diving in.
And I have a feeling that's just the tip of the iceberg.
It is.
This is just part one of our crypto deep dive, so stick with us as we explore the wilder side of this world.
Okay, so we've covered like the basics, but our listeners send us some research that goes way deeper.
Okay.
They're asking about things like mining and consensus mechanisms.
Yeah, stuff I've heard of, but honestly don't really get, so help.
Okay, so those are really great questions, and they actually point to the underlying technology that makes all of this possible.
Great.
The blockchain.
Blockchain, okay, it's like the buzzword of the century.
Right.
But what is it in plain English?
Okay, so imagine a digital ledger that records every single transaction across this vast network of computers.
Okay.
And this ledger is constantly being updated and verified by all the participants, making it incredibly secure and transparent.
So instead of like one bank's record, it's like a shared record that everyone can see.
Yeah.
That seems risky.
Well, that's where consensus mechanisms come in.
Okay.
These are the rules that govern how that blockchain is updated and secured.
Okay.
So think of it like a voting system.
Okay.
But instead of people, it's computers reaching an agreement on the validity of transactions.
So even if someone tried to cheat, like the other computers would outvote them.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
So the most common consensus mechanism is called proof of work,
Okay.
which is what Bitcoin uses.
Okay.
This involves computers, known as miners, solving complex mathematical problems to add new blocks to the chain.
Wait, mining.
Yes.
Like digging for gold.
Yes, it's a really good analogy.
Okay.
So miners are essentially competing to solve these problems. And the first one to find a solution gets to add the next block to the blockchain.
Okay.
And as a reward, they receive newly minted Bitcoin.
So the more computing power you have, the more Bitcoin you can mine.
Basically. Yeah, it's kind of like a digital gold rush.
It is. Okay.
But it's a very energy-intensive process.
Okay.
Which has raised concerns about the environmental impact of Bitcoin mining.
Right. Makes sense.
Which is why other consensus mechanisms like proof of stake are gaining popularity.
Proof of stake? How's that different?
So instead of relying on that raw computing power, proof of stake requires participants to stake their cryptocurrency holdings as collateral. So those with a larger stake have a higher chance of being selected to validate those transactions and earn rewards.
So it's more about having skin in the game than just like a raw computing power.
Exactly. And it's generally seen as more energy efficient and potentially more scalable.
Okay.
But, it has its own set of trade-offs and challenges.
There's no free lunch, right?
There's no free lunch, exactly.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a lot of innovation happening in this space.
Yeah.
Are there like other types of blockchains beyond what Bitcoin and Ethereum use?
Oh, absolutely. So you've got public blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum,
right,
which are open to anyone.
Yeah.
But they're also private and permissioned blockchains, often used by businesses for internal purposes.
So like a company could have its own little blockchain for like tracking inventory or something.
Exactly. And blockchain technology has this wide range of potential applications beyond just cryptocurrency.
Okay.
We're seeing it used in supply chain management, healthcare, voting systems, even art and collectibles.
Wow. So even if someone isn't interested in buying or selling crypto, this whole blockchain thing is still going to impact their life.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet.
Wow.
It's still early days, but the potential of blockchain technology to really transform these various industries is enormous.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this is way bigger than just digital money.
Right.
It's about rethinking trust, transparency, and how we organize systems.
You got it.
But I gotta admit, it's also a lot to wrap your head around.
It is, but that's also what makes it so exciting.
True.
The crypto world is constantly evolving, and there's always something new to learn and explore.
Well, our listener definitely gave us a lot to explore.
Definitely.
But before we get too lost in the technical weeds,
Right.
let's bring it back to them.
Okay.
They're trying to make sense of this world.
Yeah.
So where should someone even start if they want to learn more about cryptocurrency?
That's a great question. And I always recommend starting with reputable sources of information. There are great books, articles, online courses that provide a really solid foundation of knowledge.
Yeah, and I bet there are tons of podcasts out there too.
Oh, for sure.
Not to toot our own horn or anything.
Of course. But seriously, it's really important to be discerning with your sources.
Yeah.
Because there's also a lot of misinformation and hype out there.
Right, because unfortunately where there's money, there are scams.
Always.
So what are some red flags people should watch out for?
Promises of guaranteed returns are a big one.
Okay.
No legitimate investment can guarantee profits, especially in a volatile market like crypto.
That's good advice for any investment, really.
It is.
Don't trust anyone who says it's a sure thing.
Exactly. And be wary of pressure tactics or, FOMO, that fear of missing out.
Right.
It's really important to make those informed decisions based on your own research and your own risk tolerance.
Okay.
Not on someone else's hype.
So do your homework, don't get swept up by the hype, and remember that if something sounds too good to be true,
it probably is.
It probably is solid advice for navigating the crypto Wild West.
Absolutely. And remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay.
Take your time to learn, experiment, and find what works best for you.
I like that a crypto marathon sounds less stressful than a gold rush.
Much less stressful.
Okay, we've still got more to cover in our listeners' stack of research, so let's dive into the next topic, the potential impact of cryptocurrency on the global financial system. All right, so we really dug into the tech side of this stuff. But this whole crypto thing, it's about more than just code, isn't it?
Yeah,
Our listeners sent in some articles talking about the impact of all this, on the level of countries and economies. Is that where this is headed?
It definitely could be.
Okay.
The decentralized nature of cryptocurrency really challenges the traditional role of central banks and governments in controlling monetary policy.
So if people are using Bitcoin instead of dollars or euros,
right,
that kind of undermines those currencies.
Yeah, it has the potential to. Yeah. And we're already seeing some countries actually exploring the idea of central bank digital currencies. CBDCs. Yeah. It's like a digital version of their national currency.
Okay.
But issued and controlled by the central bank.
Whoa. So governments are trying to get in on the crypto game?
Yeah.
Why would they do that?
Well, it's a way for them to potentially maintain control in this evolving financial landscape.
Okay.
CBDCs, they could offer benefits like faster transactions, lower costs, and increased financial inclusion.
Okay.
But they also raise some concerns about privacy and government surveillance.
So it's like a trade-off between convenience and control.
Exactly.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. And it's just one example of how cryptocurrency is really forcing us to rethink the relationship between governments, financial institutions, and individuals.
Sounds like a whole power shift could be happening.
Potentially, yeah.
But what about the impact on regular people?
Yeah.
Will we all be using Bitcoin to buy groceries someday?
That's still uncertain.
Yeah.
Cryptocurrency has definitely faced challenges, adoption, volatility, scalability. But even if it doesn't become our everyday currency,
right,
the underlying blockchain technology is already having a profound impact.
Yeah, we talked about some of those uses earlier, supply chain management.
Yeah.
But what about the bigger picture? How could blockchain change things on a global scale?
Imagine a world with greater transparency and accountability.
Okay.
Blockchain could really help fight corruption, reduce fraud, and empower individuals in developing countries who lack access to those traditional financial services.
So it's not just about making money.
Right.
It could actually make the world a better place.
It has the potential to, but it's important to remember technology is a tool, right?
Right.
It can be used for good or for bad.
It's up to us.
Exactly. The future of cryptocurrency and blockchain will really depend on the choices we make as a society.
That's a sobering thought.
Yeah.
Puts a lot of responsibility on us to figure this out.
It does.
Yeah.
But it's also an incredibly exciting time.
Yeah.
We're at the forefront of a technological revolution that really has the potential to reshape the world as we know it.
That's a lot to take in. I think we've covered a ton of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
From the origins of Bitcoin to the potential impact on the global financial system.
Yeah.
I'm guessing our listeners probably feeling a little overwhelmed right now,
Maybe a little bit.
but hopefully also inspired.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think the most important takeaway here is that this is like an ongoing journey of discovery,
Absolutely.
The crypto world is constantly evolving and there's always more to learn.
Sure.
So keep asking questions, keep exploring, and don't be afraid to dive deeper into this fascinating world of cryptocurrency and blockchain.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to shape the future of finance.
That's the beauty of it. It's a decentralized revolution. Anyone can participate.
Well, on that note, we'll leave you to ponder all of this. Until next time, deep divers keep learning, keep exploring, and as always, thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.